Hey, and welcome back to the Gaming Lately show. Next Friday, we have Matt Kahn of the Gamer X convention, which will be part 2 of our episode from last week. And now we are a full month out from EA Play, and there's been a lot of gaming news from it, but mainly Star Wars gaming news that I want to talk about. Star Wars Battlefront 2 is available for pre-order currently, and you can read up more through GameSkinny.com's articles. And of course, thanks to our next guest, he is one half of the Star Wars Battlefront Podcast, Sage Goodwin. They started in 2015, specifically on November 11th. And right now, you can support them through Patreon, as they are also running a Battlefront poster giveaway, which will be linked in the description below, so you can join in on all the good fun. So, EA Play, which I really want to talk about, you actually got the chance to have the Star Wars Battlefront Podcast interview people and play at EA Play. What was that experience like? Just going there, meeting other gamers, meeting other Star Wars YouTubers, podcasters, all of that.
The whole experience was amazing. We didn't get an invite, but we drove the 17 hours to Los Angeles from Colorado, and like the whole experience, we waited 12 hours to get into EA Play, but it was worth it because the people in line were just so much fun. Everyone was there for Battlefront 2, except for like two people. It's like, what are you here for? And this one guy was like, I'm here for Madden. We're like, Madden? This year it should have been Star Wars Battlefront 2 Play. It's like the whole line from Battlefront 2 was to the station up to the door to the event. It was insane. But the developers were amazing. We got to talk with Paul Kessler. We didn't get an interview with him, but he should be coming on the podcast sometime soon. We interviewed Dennis Brownbell, the lead designer, Elliot from the Star Wars from Battlefront updates, and Jared Bilby from the Star Wars Game Outpost.
Yeah, I mean, you got a lot of them. Some of them are available in your actual podcast library now that people can go listen to. What was like in playing the actual game? What was like what was like the first thing that you noticed that you thought was like, oh, this is like the best thing that they've improved upon or added so far? Just all the things, whatever it is, you know.
The whole game was smooth. Like that. If I had to describe it in one word, it would be smooth. The first thing I did when I played Battlefront 2 was roll. So you can roll forward. You can roll side to side, which they had in Battlefront 2015, but you can also roll backwards.
Yeah.
So, and it's not as fast, so you don't have like the people spamming it across the map to get around. Everything's been improved. Like they've said, this is the game that Battlefront 2015 should have been, and I totally agree with them. They have classes, they have smooth multiplayer, interesting gameplay and mechanics, and they've got the phase game mode now. Like everything was just improved upon. Like there are things that they still need to work on, like balancing. The heavy class was extremely overpowered.
The shield and all. Did you find like while playing as the heavy class that like, because I mean you rack up points like pretty easily because it's just when you take damage, right, that you rack up more battle points that way.
Like as soon as I got there, I was like, this thing needs to be nerfed. And I told Dennis Brownbell, I was like, after I got played, I was like, it's so much fun, but that guy needs to be nerfed right now. Yeah. It's like you feel like a total beast when you are playing Battlefront as the heavy. It's insane. Like I just go behind a pillar, activate my Gatling gun, and just walk and just decimate everyone.
Yeah. And two, I mean, maybe you can speak to this too, because just in seeing clips of it, it seems like health-wise that you can still die as quickly as you could in the current game, but I don't know, it seems like the pace of the game is sort of like maybe slowed down in some aspects, but like it picked up as far as like from when you die to playing your next character to jumping back in. Did you feel that way, or is it not the same?
It's on the phase one is like the snipers thing, and everyone's really spaced out. It was a weird experience. Like I was just walking around not getting hit by anyone. I was like, man, this is insane. But then next phases, it changes. Like once you get in, you're like right in the battle because the spawns seem to be better placed. Mm-hmm. And then like it was interesting because like it takes longer to get into the battle, but like the whole time you're in the menu, you're choosing your class, you're deciding how do I want to play this map, how do I want to play this life, do I want to be the officer and help my teammates, or do I want to be the heavy and just go in there and get kills, or do I want to be the sniper, the assault? It's like it's very strategic how they've made the Battlefront 2 now.
Yeah, too, and the biggest aspect, you guys just talked about it in the last episode released, is heroes. Everyone's talking about heroes, which heroes are next, trying to look through alpha files even to see who the next heroes are. How did you find, just through playing as Darth Maul, his powers and abilities? Because he's definitely this fast-paced, mess on the battlefront. Did you find him to be like too much, or his powers and abilities like did it feel like right? Like, oh, this is what this character should be played like,
So I didn't get to play Darth Maul, sadly. I got to play Boba Fett. But against Darth Maul, like, he is too overpowered. Compared to everyone else, he's too overpowered. Like, if they buff everyone else to like that same level, I think he'll be good. Like, a couple things need to be worked on, but I think he's balanced the other characters that are not balanced. But like, his playstyle is fast-paced, get in there, get out. Like, the difference that they've changed through Battlefront 2015, you're a hero, you go out there, you destroy everyone. It takes 50 lives to kill a hero. Yeah. This game, they're more balanced. So a Rey's more like an untrained Jedi that has a lightsaber on the battlefront, like as she should be. And then it's really interesting to see how they've changed from overpowered gods on the battlefront to everyday troopers getting promoted to hero status. Yeah. So you can see some people in the gameplay that's been released go up against Darth Maul and then melee him to death. Yeah. And then there's other, like, it all depends on how you play. So Sam was playing Rey, and everyone says, like, Rey sucks, blah, blah, blah. And then he goes out there and gets like a 20 kill streak as Rey, and everyone's like, what is going on? Rey's supposed to suck. And Dennis Brown was like, are you sure you're talking about Rey? And he's like, yeah, she's a total beast. You don't need to touch her at all. And he was like, man, we've seen some very negative thoughts on Rey. It's like, it all depends on your playstyle and how you want to approach that.
Yeah, too. And since you got to play as Boba Fett, we can talk about his playstyle too. Are they ever going to get Boba Fett right in one of these games? Is he ever going to be like as formidable as he should be? Because it seems like his abilities are mostly the same. They changed flamethrower to being melee, which I thought was good too. Do you think they're going to are they going to buff him? Do you think they might do what they did in this in the past game, where they had him stronger, they weakened him, then they rebuffed him towards the end, but at this point there's too many other heroes that people might not pick him,
Yes, as Sam will say every episode we bring up Boba Fett, they cannot get him right. Mm-hmm. And I agree, like, he is not the same character in Battlefront 2015 as he is in Battlefront 2. Like, they have definitely done something to, I'd say, make him more strategic. Mm-hmm. But I don't think he's that formidable force on the battlefront just yet. They may need to buff him a little more.
Do you think? I mean, and then his counterpart, at least I felt like in 2015's Battlefront that it was like Han Solo to Boba Fett is like the foe to one another. Do you think that they're going to improve him as well from the at least from the alpha, and then also from EA Play? Have you heard anything, at least as far as Han Solo being improved upon?
The people that I've talked to pretty much all agree that Han Solo is very weak. Mm-hmm. And I agree with that. Like, he goes in there, he dies almost instantly. It's like he's another character that they can't seem to get right.
Do you think it's just because they make them as like these sort of, not super soldiers, but they're just like improved upon soldiers. They don't, when you choose them, it's like this sort of next step up from just being another soldier on the field. Is is maybe that the reason, because he's not wielding a lightsaber or something? Like, why do they keep sort of messing him up?
Yeah, I think it's that aspect which I really want them to do more of that, because as I say over and over, Jyn Erso is just another rebel trooper. Like, she does not need to be the beast on the battlefront. She's just a regular trooper, just like anybody else. So I like that they're moving towards that. It's just I don't know, like Han Solo, since everyone wants to play aggressively, they need to make him more aggressive. But since he's not an aggressive character in Star Wars, it's actually hard to do that. Mm-hmm. Like, you see in The New Hope when he's laying there in the seat and then he shoots Greedo first, I must say. But like, him being aggressive isn't really in his character, except for that one scene in New Hope where he's like running into the battlefront. Like, he sneaks around in Return of the Jedi, The Empire Strikes Back. Like, he's more of that character, and a lot of people want to play him as like they would Darth Maul.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, well, one of the things Battlefront 2 has done well is like have different heroes, have different obviously the classes to suit those different play styles. But I don't know if they'll actually change him in the same way, because I mean, the same thing that happened to Boba Fett seemed to happen to him. He was debuffed, buffed again, nerfed at some point, I'm sure, in an update. As far as like the other heroes, at least Rey, I know, at least on the last podcast you guys had out, Sam was talking a lot about playing Rey in a positive light anyway, that you can be really good with her. Do you think that more players are going to see that and maybe have more positive feedback, or do you think just because they can't, rush through like Darth Maul, they're gonna still give negative comments?
It's going to be a mix. There's going to be those people that are like, oh yeah, you have to play her specifically, and more strategic. And then there's going to be the people that have played like other shooters and want to go in there and just destroy everyone, and they can't. So they automatically have like these hard feelings for Boba Fett or Han Solo, because you can't just go in there and destroy everyone. Yeah. It's like, you can't please everyone. It's going to be a hard decision to see, and especially like, as we were talking about in that episode, cross-era hero play has been the number one buzzword that's been thrown around since that trailer and the gameplay has been released. It's like, do they want to do certain game modes, or do they want to do all game modes, or do they want to lock it down completely? Yeah. I specifically, I love the heroes across all eras, just because you can be like, I'm going to play Rey against Darth Maul, or if hopefully they have General Grievous against like all these other characters.
Yeah, exactly.
Or I think what they're going to do ultimately is going to be certain game modes.
Yeah, I think so too. And yeah, Grievous is one that's been on everyone's lists as far as heroes that they want to see. Are there heroes that you want to see that maybe like unlikely ones, so ones you think that they maybe won't do but would be awesome to see in the game?
General Grievous, I think, is going to be that character, because like General Grievous is going to be hard to manage. Only if they do 4 lightsabers, that's going to be extremely hard to balance and everything. So what I think they may do is just do 2 lightsabers, or maybe just one and have like an ultimate ability or something like that. But I would like to see Nien Nunb back. Like, before Battlefront, he was my favorite character. After Battlefront, he was my favorite character. But IG-88 would be cool to see. We mentioned that to Dennis Brumville, and he was like, "Why?" And we're just like, he's a robot assassin.
Well, I mean, they chose Dengar. I mean, if they're going to choose him of all people, they can choose IG-88. But I mean, too, since we were talking about Grievous, he's one of those few characters that we see in the movies and the TV show that has guards by his side. And guard gameplay is one that we did not see at EA play at all so far. What do you think they're going to do with the newer guards? You think they're just going to bring back that same sort of, you can become them, it'll be like a weaker hero, stronger soldier of some kind in the upcoming game?
That's exactly what they're going to do. I believe one of the developers said that they will have guards. It was showcased in the Tantive 4 screenshot where they had the Death Troopers, I believe, and he said those were support characters only be played on certain maps with certain heroes, I think. I think that's what they're going to do. I really like playing as the support characters like that. It's like a buff. It's in between the heroes and then the regular troops.
Yeah. And two, yeah, I mean, I've talked about this with in other Star Wars videos and just in the podcast episodes too, that I really wish they would like sneak in more characters using the guards, because I feel like they could do like if like Cassian was a hero, K2SO would be like his guard, and that way you could still be cool characters and without having to like really spend a lot on as far as designing a hero and all the abilities and stuff like that. Would you like to see something like that? Could they do something like that? Do you think they will?
The only way that they do that is like what they did in Battlefront 2015, which is the spaceships, where we got to see Wedge and I think it was Biggs in the ships as Luke Skywalker support.
Yeah, that would make sense too. We mentioned earlier the not going to please everyone. One thing that one of the many things people are upset about with the new game is that there won't be droidicas at release, or at least it's not looking likely that there will be. Obviously, they weren't at EA Play. Are you disappointed by no droidicas as a class? Do you think it's not as big of a deal? What do you think about it?
I would love to see droidicas. I don't think they've specifically said no, but they haven't really said yes either. Like anyone brings that up, they're like, I don't know yet. Like Paul Kesslin really wants to see Jar Jar in the game somehow. It's like, I think the droidics are going to be in that range. Like maybe not at launch, but I think ultimately they will bring the droidicas in somehow. Maybe as like a vehicle that you can earn points for, because the droidicas are so awesome.
Oh yeah, exactly. I feel like wouldn't they be the heavy class for if they just replaced the battle droid, right? That's currently heavy.
That's exactly what if they did implement them somehow and like replace the heavy. The droidica would definitely be that.
Yeah, too, and that would come along with the nerf to the heavies that we talked about. Just keeping with the whole negative comments, there's EA hate train now that we've gotten, glimpses of alpha footage. We've gotten all the stuff from EA Play. What do you make of the whole? There's this weird backlash. I don't know how strong it is. I've only briefly come across it where gamers are now saying that because of like the crate system or because of pre-orders and stuff like that, they don't want to. All of a sudden, they don't want to buy the game because they feel like people are going to have an edge and just sort of bulldoze them in like the first weeks of the beta being out or weeks of the game coming out. Have you seen that same EA hate train? Have you seen the backlash in that direction?
Yes, sadly, EA Play hate train or the EA hate train never stops. No. EA is one of those companies that, for some reason, people love to hate them. It's like, it's just one of those things that gamers love to hate upon. I am really happy that EA got the license for Star Wars games. I think they're the best choice if they want to continue bringing out good, high-quality Star Wars games year after year. Yeah. The thing about like people who like to hate on EA, they're doing pay to win, and I don't believe that they will do pay to win. It's like the developers have been very adamant saying this is not going to be pay to win. They've said it over and over again. People are like, oh, it's pay to win. No, it's not pay to win. Mm-hmm. It could be, but I don't see it being pay to win. They've already said, hey, we're not going to do a season pass because that separates the community. Pay to win will separate the community in a different way.
Yeah.
It's just so weird how like people love to hate those. The people that are hating upon EA and saying all of this crap saying that they won't buy the game. They will ultimately, most likely, buy the game. They're just looking for a point to say, oh, I'm on the internet. I like to hate on EA. because that's what gamers do. Had many a heated conversation on EA hate train. It's like I got just the podcast we recorded. I think it was Thursday, and that'll hopefully come out today. I make the point of the EA. It's like I lost my train of thought.
Following the hate train. Lost their train of thought. Never mind.
Yeah, so they will make the point of saying, "Oh, blah blah blah," and I got internet harassed because of my love of Battlefront 2015. Someone came in, sent us a message on YouTube, and I was just like, they said, "Oh, I heard that Battlefront 2015 is your favorite game of the year," and they're like, "How can that be? Have you never played this game, this game, this game?" I was like, not really. I've played certain games. Like, I am a Star Wars Battlefront super fan. I have strong opinions on it, but I'm not like the fanboy that's gonna just defend everything.
Yeah.
But to send me a message on YouTube saying like your opinion sucks, it's like, it's my opinion. I personally really enjoy Battlefront 2015.
Yeah, and it's just like Battlefield or those other games of the same genre where people can go back and play them, and you'll still find people online in these different versions. I'm sure you're gonna get the same thing. I don't know if they're planning on Battlefront 3 anytime soon, but it's that same sort of deal where I think it's definitely not the worst thing that's happened to Star Wars gaming. And I think too, we have so few new Star Wars games. Wouldn't it be like I'm almost glad that Battlefront 2015 had the errors that it did, because look at what we're getting in this next one. So like, do you see that same arc where it's like the next game more than makes up for what fans complained about in the last one?
Definitely. We haven't gotten a true Star Wars game really since I think it was The Force Unleashed 2. The most recent one was Disney Infinity, and then Star Wars Connect. Yeah. So when you're looking at that, like, why would you hate on EA to bringing all of these Star Wars games? We're getting Visceral's game 2018. We're getting another Respawn game 2019. It's like, we've got Star Wars games for the next 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy about that.
No, yeah, definitely. And plus too, since you mentioned that EA having the license to make Star Wars games, would you want to see? Are there any other gaming companies that you can think of, or maybe even going to indie development, that you would want Star Wars games to come out of, or do you think keeping it in EA's hands is just fine?
I'd like to see them continue the Lego Star Wars games, and then I'd like to see a Telltale Star Wars games or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't see that happening. I have no idea how the Lego got the license for Star Wars video games, to be honest, but that game is awesome. So I definitely see them doing more of that.
And they've been making Lego Star Wars games for for quite a while. From special original trilogy only, or like sequel trilogy, and then they do the whole thing, and they have like a Yoda specific one as well too. What do you think is their next? What should be their next move? Because now they've gone into FPS. Obviously, they're gonna have a visceral one that, from what I've seen, some people are like equating to like the Uncharted version of a Star Wars game. What other direction, either inspired by a game you like, or just other direction that they should go in for Star Wars gaming?
The No Man's Sky as Star Wars would be pretty cool. I don't see that happening, but like, I'm pretty happy with what they've said they're going to be doing. Like, visceral Star Wars games, aiming Hennig as the head, Assassin's Creed producers on there as well, and both of them have an incredible backlog. And Amy Hennig has said, we're looking at Star Wars and movies and to inspire this. Like, they've said they've looked at what makes Star Wars, and they're going to bring that to a video game. That's all you can really ask for a Star Wars game. It's like, I hope it's open world, because if it's open world, I'm going to be extremely happy.
Oh yeah, that would be amazing. I mean, gosh, what's the last even close to that we've gotten in Star Wars is like what? SWTORs online, got the MMORPGs, Knights of the Old Republic, even barely close to that. So I mean, that would be, completely different direction for Star Wars. Something I think a lot of fans would really enjoy. But speaking of the EA hate train, there's now the new form of hate train, which is for Star Wars movies. Once the movie comes out, it's either the best movie or the worst movie of the series, and then the next one comes out, and there's this whole different look at like the previous one. So we saw that with like The Force Awakens, and then to Rogue One. Now looking back at Force Awakens, do you see that sort of like similar model going on with Star Wars games now in this like new era of Star Wars gaming?
No, because we really haven't had Star Wars Star Wars video games like we haven't had Star Wars. Like, we've already gotten 2 amazing Star Wars movies. And like you're saying, the hate trains, like you either love it or you hate it. I love The Force Awakens. I also love Rogue One. I don't think Rogue One needed to be made, though. And that's the thing that scares me, is that they're going to continue these anthology films in these timeline corners. Like, they've got the Han Solo movie. You can't really do much with Han Solo as a character when he's a scoundrel in A New Hope. There's no character arc. But, like, I'm scared that we may get too many Star Wars movies. That could be applied to video games as well, but we really haven't seen the same kind of thing, because it takes, some would say, longer to make a really high quality video game that will entertain. Like, as video games go forward, people are pushing the boundaries of how much people will pay, how much stuff they will use. Like, a lot of people will look at a $60 game as like, how many hours can I play this?
Yeah, very true.
And like that could be the thing. Like, I want to see more Star Wars, but there's also the point, like, if they keep on going back to the original trilogy, it may get old really quickly.
And do you see, because they said after, as far as the movies go, they said after the current trilogy that we're in, that they're done with the Skywalker family. Do you find that was a positive for Star Wars, or maybe like a scary territory for like where they could be going next?
That is interesting. Like, they could continue with the Skywalker saga, but if they keep on making everyone related, it's going to make the world much smaller.
Yeah.
Why can't Snoke be a different character than? Why can't he be a completely new character than the Emperor Palpatine theory or whatever? So, yeah.
Well, do you sign on to like those, like, not conspiracy theories, but they are like the fan theories that, of who Snoke is and stuff like that? Is there a crazy theory that you've seen, Reddit or otherwise, that like you would be okay with that if it were true?
I'd take all theories and just like put them aside. Just like, no, like, if Matt Pat from Game Theory and Film Theory can't come up with a true theory for Star Wars, I don't think anybody can.
Fair enough. I feel like that should be the new test for fan theories, the Matt Pat test. But also too, just as far as making the new games, or make at least back to Battlefront anyway. So in Battlefront 2, we're gonna have the first time that a Star Wars canon character is introduced through a video game. Do you see that as like maybe a future model that they're going for? Probably the Visceral one seems to be following one main male character, at least in this little snippet we got. Do you see that as like a good angle that they may be going for, that now we can have canon video gaming all of a sudden?
I love that idea. I've been saying I want more canon stuff. Like, I want them to take more risks with canon. Like, bring in new characters that we've never seen before. It doesn't really tie to an era. It doesn't tie to this extreme world destruction thing, but go into the background, go into these different themes. Like, I love the idea of going and focusing on the Empire, because we don't really know that much on what goes on between the regular trooper in on the battle, especially from the Empire side. We got that with Rogue One, but we didn't. We saw the Rebels, and like I love that. I'm currently writing a fan film, I guess, with cinematic captures, who does the awesome cinematics for pretty much every big YouTuber's thumbnails and everything.
He does amazing too, by the way.
Yes. We've got a couple of the stuff filmed for that. The trailers are awesome for Warring Galaxy. And then, like, I'm looking towards that. And I love the idea of we've got this view and then we've got this view. And then they both tell different sides of the same story. I love that idea.
Yeah, no, too. And we featured cinematic captures at the end of one of our videos before. How's it been, like, working with other YouTubers or other... I know at the beginning we mentioned interviewing other Star Wars YouTubers. How's it been, like, meeting them, working with them, and then, like, sort of, like, bouncing ideas, I guess, off of, like, what they think about certain aspects of things?
Part of Battlefront is the community. And, like, it's so much fun talking with the other YouTubers. And, like, I'm a podcaster. Elliot didn't really know what podcasts were, which is really fun. It's like, so how does this work? And I was like, it's just audio. And I told him about podcasts, and it's interesting to see how, like, from their perspective and then the podcaster's perspective, because he's news based and we're news and mostly speculation and commentary. So that's interesting to where, like, the collaboration that we did with him on why the Ultimate Edition was a good thing, like, that's really in line with the content that we create. And then the video that he did for our channel is kind of like mirrors that.
Yeah.
And then, like, working with cinematic captures, like, I started talking to him about Warring Galaxy. I think it was like over a year ago, maybe. It's been a while, and it's interesting to combat at like a machinima kind of thing, to where we're going to use Battlefront as the film tool, and then I'm going to write the story for it. That it's just so much fun working with other YouTubers, and I hope to get more YouTubers on our podcast as well.
And as far as working with others in the Battlefront community, as you mentioned, the real reason that I feel as though Battlefront 2 is as good as it is the feedback that they've been getting. But as far as your podcast, how's the Star Wars community been for you, and, like, the most positive aspects, also maybe the most, negative aspects that you may have come across?
Something about podcasts is most of the people that we interact with are really nice. Like, nice people listen to podcasts. See,
that is a fact. Someone write this down.
Nice people listen to podcasts. Nice to angry people watch YouTube videos. So, like, I really don't have many negative things to say about podcasting, but, like, what's amazing is, like, a lot of the gear, except for the microphone I'm using right now, has been given to us by our listeners. This new mixer, friend of the podcast, Preston, he upgraded our hardware, got us new headphones. Listener of the podcast, Doug, aka a Rogue 27, he gave us a separate microphone, so we didn't have to share a single microphone anymore. Like, that's
awesome.
It's awesome. Like, the people going out there and, like, hey, I really enjoy what you do. I want to support you. Like, you don't really get that with YouTube that often.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, that's just been awesome. And then just being, like, we still haven't been contacted by EA yet. So I'm hoping maybe we'll get flown up to EA. Gamescom. So I'm hoping we're the #1 Battlefront podcast, and I remind them, like, every so often.
There's a list of emails that they have somewhere.
Yeah.
Stored away from Sage.
Yeah. Who is this guy? Apparently he's the #1 podcast on Battlefront.
So, and yeah, just sort of in a final nice little wrap-up question, I guess I could say. If there was, like, one tip you could give to people who haven't pre-ordered the game, they're on the fence right now because there's there's like this dual mentality, probably thanks to YouTube, of YouTubers saying that don't buy this game because now it's pay to win, or people saying it's not pay to win. This is what we have so far. We can't fully say yay or nay on it. It didn't seem that one way or the other. What would you say as far as in that debate? Like, what do people look forward to going into the game, and then if they should buy it or not?
Well, if you're gonna be on the fence about it, I'd say get a physical copy, try it out, and then if you don't like it, you can just go sell it. Like, it's as simple as that. And then, like, if you are interested in buying it and you want to play it early, I would suggest pre-ordering it. And if you want to get ahead, if you want time to practice, I'd say the deluxe edition is your way. So you can get 3 days early access, beta access as well. The 3 days early access is only on the deluxe edition.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to play it early and see what's up, I'd say the deluxe edition, or just pre-order it. A lot of people are angry about pre-orders too, but like, we've got ours pre-ordered through the PlayStation Store because we know we're not going to sell it. So if you want it as soon as possible, and if your internet can handle it, I'd say do it digitally.
Yeah.
I'm a proponent of buying things digitally. You don't have like this whole shelf of video games, but you don't have to take in and put in a new disc every time you want to play a different game.
Exactly, and I think that is as good a place as any to end our Star Wars talks for the day. Sage, thank you so much for joining me again. Guys, be sure to listen to the Star Wars Battlefront Podcast, the number one, EA's listening, number one Star Wars Battlefront Podcast, and they are currently doing the poster giveaway, again, linked below. Thanks so much, Sage, for joining us on Gaming Lately, and hope you have a good one.
You as well.
Play me old school music.